Hello everyone and welcome to an incredible game from the final round of this year's London Chess Classic. It is Hans Niemann versus Gukesh, and Gukesh needs a win, not just a win in this game. He needs to win this tournament in order to qualify for the FIDE Candidates Tournament. But it's not enough to win this final game against Hans. He also has to wait to see how the game between Michael Adams, who's been having an incredible tournament, will finish against Shreyas Royal. And Shreyas is the bottom seed of the tournament. He's an international master. But even though he defeated Tabatabai and Gilles Moussard, so anything could happen, and he does have the white pieces against Adam. So best thing Gukesh can hope for is that Kaisa smiles upon him on this day, and that he wins and qualifies for the candidates tournament. But let's see what happened in this game as he faces a most unpleasant opponent, that is Hans Niemann. So Hans has the white pieces, and he opens with e4. e5 by Gukesh, knight f3, knight to c6, and bishop to c4. We have bishop to c5, countering the Italian game with the Giuoco Piano, and now pawn to d3, already deviating from the main line. We have knight to f6, castles, and pawn to d6. So, very standard stuff. We see this pretty much in every other game that we cover. c3, we have a6 and a4. We have bishop to a7, so we don't have to worry about any pawns challenging that bishop in the future with b4 or d4. Rook to e1, and now pawn to h6. You guys already know what happens if you go after the pawn on f2. I'm sure I don't have to repeat that anymore. Grabbing more space on the queen side, pawn a5, and now pawn to g5. Gukesh says that he wants to go for the attack. He's ready to go g4, and it's up to Hans to figure out a defense against this. We have bishop to e3, countering Gukesh's strong bishop on a7, and now there are a few games where bishop captures on e3 was played, but here Gukesh goes for the immediate g4, and it is now as of move 10 that we have a completely new game. So okay, we have knight f to d2, you have to move the knight, and now bishop captures on e3, and Hans says, alright, I could capture with the rook, but let's make it interesting. F captures on e3, we have knight to h7, and now knight to f1. Standard squares for the knight of course is coming to g3, and then later on to f5. We have pawn to h5, and now knight to g3, and this also not just prepares knight f5, but also stops any f5 ideas black might have. So here we have queen to g5. It's a sure way of stopping knight to f5, and also you put pressure on the e3 pawn, so you don't have to worry about the rook being shifted to f1, as that f7 pawn could come under attack. So here knight to d2, and now knight to e7, adding more support to the f5 square, and also preparing central advancement with c6 and d5. Knight e7 is met with queen to a4 with check, c6, and now queen to b4, sort of hindering the development of the light square bishop, but not for long. h4 challenges the knight, knight to f5, and now bishop captures on f5. We have e captures on f5, and now Gukesh first grabs more space in the center, pawn to d5, bishop back to b3, and now Gukesh castles kingside. And this is a clear attempt at playing for a win here, because if you want to draw here, you will just castle queenside. Now the point is that after bishop to d1, going after this g4 pawn, you don't really have a good way of dealing with this. Knight captures on f5 will be played, queen captures on g4, and queens have to now come off the board because e4 is coming, so that's a problem for black. And with queens off the board, it's a fairly equalish position. But after bishop to b3, I imagine as this is the final round and Gukesh really needs a win to qualify for the candidates tournament, if at all possible, he castles kingside and he says, what'll be will be. And now there is only one move that he missed. Probably, maybe he considered it, but maybe he just didn't think it was that powerful. But there is one move that Hans can play that just wins the game on the spot for him. So feel free to pause the video and try to figure it out, and then we will see if Hans found it over the board. Have at it. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on being a true master of positional play. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is queen captures on g. I'm only kidding. It is, of course, rook to a4. Rook to a4 is the move, and now once you see this move, you realize that there's really no good move that black can make here. And what I mean by this is, what if white just goes for bishop to d1, the move that we covered in the other line? Is it any good here? It's good, but it's nothing special. Black will capture on f5, and after queen captures on g4, queen captures and bishop captures, you will simply move the knight, and the game continues. Nothing spectacular happening here. However, after rook to a4, you have so many weaknesses on the fourth rank. blank, and there's no good way of dealing with this now. Knight captures on f5 is easily met with queen captures on g4, and once queens get traded, let's say captures with check, king h8, e4 right away, pretty much seals the deal. You have a weakness on d5, you're going to lose that pawn. Once you move the knight, you're going to lose the h4 pawn as well, then the other rook joins the attack. Or if you try something like, let's say, d captures on e4, even rook captures on e4, now this is a weakness, this is a weakness. There's really not all that much you can do here. So you will start losing material, and the open and soon to be open H file will be, a happy hunting ground for the white rooks. So that's why after rook to a4, Gukesh played pawn to g3, trying to get some sort of an attack going, but it doesn't help. Queen captures on h4, queen captures, rook captures on h4, he captures on h2 with check, rook captures on h2, and now he plays pawn to f6, and this is a clear indicator that something has gone terribly wrong, because if you could capture on f5, then you would be okay. But look at this, e4, and now if d captures on e4, you will play rook captures on e4. Again, this is a problem. And now if you defended rook 8 to e8, now rook to g4 with check, king to h8, and knight comes to e4. Next knight is coming to g5. You will not be able to defend anything here. If you play something like f6, even rook to h3, and black is without a move. There's no move we can make here. Like you play rook to e7, knight captures on f6, and if you move it, then rook to g8 is checkmate, as you forgot about our good friend bishop on b3 guarding the g8 square. So here there's no move. This is a zugzwang. So after rook captures on h2, Gukesh had to defend. He played pawn to f6, but still pawn to e4, just making use of this excellent pin here. And now we have rook to f7. Better to be active than to try and defend the d5 pawn. Knight to f3, Hans even wants to play d4 to completely obliterate the position. Rook to g7, and now pawn to d4. E captures on d4, knight captures on d4, and now once the knight comes to e6, that's pretty much it. Knight to g5 was played, e captures on d5, knight captures on d5, and now rook to h6, putting more pressure on the pawn here, so c4 will win the pawn. So king to f7 defending this pawn, and now king to f1. You have to be a little bit careful, because if you move the knight to f3 check will sort of win you the exchange, so better make sure this doesn't happen. King to f1 was played, rook 8 to g8 doubling up here, hoping to get some action along the g file. Now c4, we have knight to c7, c5 with check, improving the position as much as possible before going for the capture. Bishop captures on d5, c captures knight to e6, and he was in this position on move 35 that Gukesh resigned the game, is there is nothing more to be done here. The rook will fall, and once you lose the exchange as well, there's nothing to be done here. Of course, if you capture the knight, doesn't help. Just rook captures, goes after the pawn, and yes, you can capture here, but it only means you will lose that rook, because after captures, the king has to go to the g file, and now it's a free rook. Or if you don't do that after knight to e6, there's no move you can play. The rook is just hanging here. If you try something like this, then knight captures on g5 comes with check, so you lose the defender of the rook. Once you capture it, again, Gukesh will be down a full rook. So very nicely done by both of them. Gukesh played a very active game. He played that novelty g4 line, but he completely missed Hans's rook to a4 idea. Hans found it, and that's all there is to this game. So yeah, that's the Giuoco Piano. It's a very cool opening. White is very tricky, just waiting for black to go for the attack, and then if you're careless, then something like this can easily take the game away from you. What does this mean for Gukesh? Well, he did not qualify for the candidates tournament via the FIDE circuit, but it is not the end of the road for him, because out of nowhere a tournament appears that starts in 4 days. This tournament is, of course, the Chennai Grand Masters 2023, and it will feature 8 very, very strong players. The tournament will be led by Parham Maksulu, world number 12 at a rating of 2742, who also still has a chance to qualify for the candidates tournament via rating if he does really well in the tournament. And the other players who are still in contention for the FIDE circuit are Arjun Erigaisi, the second seed of the tournament, at a rating of 2727, and Gukesh, world number 28, at a rating of 2720. So basically, either Parham Maksulu does really well and he qualifies via rating, or Arjun and Gukesh have to win the tournament, and then one of them qualifies for the FIDE candidates tournament. So still, I don't know. It seems like everything is happening all at once. Seems like new new possibilities of qualifying emerge, you know, out of nowhere. So this might not be the end of the road. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah. That's some extra info. Yeah, other players, Levon Arunian, of course, Sanand Sugirov, Hari Krishna, Pavel Ilyanov, and the excellent Alexander Predke, who's been playing some incredible chess lately. So it's going to be fun. We still have no idea who will be in the candidates tournament, but whoever qualifies will be a fine addition to the already qualified 6. Yeah, that's the game, and a little extra info on the candidates tournament. The tournament was won very nicely by Michael Adams. He just dominated the entire event. Okay, some of you said that some of the points have been gifted to him, but you try playing against grandmasters at this level and see if they gift you any points. They gifted points because he put pressure on them, and they had to, you know, suffer through some difficult positions, and at some point you will blunder. It's not like you know, they gift you a point. So I really don't like comments like that. But yeah, Michael Adams, just a spectacular event, finishes half a point. Sorry, I just don't want to trick you guys. Finishes half a point against Amin Tabatabai and Gukesh with 5 out of 9 in 3rd place. So yeah, great event by Michael Adams, but we will still have to see if Gukesh will qualify for the candidates tournament. So yeah, once again, hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank David Gasparian, Albert Villardel, Nathan Lavidad, Milos Knežević, and Treats for Medo for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.